Welcome back, beautiful soul, to another episode of Witchy Ways for Modern Days. I'm so happy you're here with me today, settling in, taking breath, and making this very small pocket of time for yourself, wherever you are. Curled up with tea, driving, folding laundry, I want you to imagine that we're just sitting together, side by side, talking about energy and emotion, and all of the soft places within you that are ready to be seen now. Today we are going to slip down from the weight of the root chakra and into the sensual fluidity of the sacral chakra. This is the realm of feeling, of creativity, pleasure, and desire. It's the water that moves through you, the tide that rises and falls with your emotions, your longings, your joy, and even grief. The sacral chakra is that tender space where you allow yourself to want, to feel, to enjoy, and to be truly alive within your own skin. So let's get into it. The sacral chakra, which in Sanskrit is known as Svadhisthana, sits in the lower belly. So it's just below the navel, and it extends through the hips, the pelvis, and the lower back. If you place a hand over your womb, or below your belly button if you don't have a womb, you are touching that energy center. This is the one that's associated with the element of water. And once you know that, everything kind of starts to make sense. Water flowing. Think of water changing shape to fill whatever space is holding it. Water that can be gentle, but also wild and crashing. This is a chakra all about movement, change, flow, and the ways that we relate emotionally to others, yes, but also to ourselves. Where the root chakra says, you're safe, you belong here, you exist. The sacral chakra says, now that you're here, what do you desire? What lights you up? What feels good? What do you want to create? It's the evolution from survival moving through to sensation. So instead of just getting through the day, the sacral chakra invites us to experience our day, to savor it, to feel its texture and flavor, colors. This is the chakra of creativity, but not just in the stereotypical like artist with a paintbrush way. Creativity here is misunderstood. It is a broader, more primal description. It's the way that ideas rise up inside you, the way that you solve problems, the way you decorate your space, the way you parent, you cook, you write, you dream, flirt. It's the urge to shape reality into something a little more beautiful, a little more you. It's also an energy point that's very connected to your sexuality, not just in a physical sense, but as your life force energy. It's magnetism. It is your ability to feel pleasure in being alive, in living a life. And because this is the energy point of emotion and pleasure, it is also a place that can carry a lot of pain. Many of us have kind of learned to shut this chakra down intuitively, often without realizing what we're doing. Maybe you grew up hearing that your emotions were too much, or that wanting things made you selfish. Maybe your sexuality was shamed, or your body was criticized. Maybe you went through trauma, or betrayal, or your boundaries were crossed. Maybe you didn't have boundaries at all. And instead of learning to heal, you learned to numb. You might have built a wall around your sacral chakra and called it control or responsibility, maturity, when really it was all about self-protection. And so that energy point gets shut down. When the sacral chakra is underactive, it can kind of feel like the world is dull. Joy feels far away. It feels very faint. You could feel creatively blocked or uninspired, or like you're kind of just going through the motions in relationships, your days can feel practical but flat. Kind of like everything in the world is predictable and colors are beige. You might find it hard to connect with what you actually want. And if someone asks you, well, what do you want out of life? You might not actually know how to answer beyond the most basic of responsibilities. You might feel disconnected from your body, treating it more like a machine than a home that you inhabit. On the flip side, when your sacral energy is overwhelmed or it's thrown out of balance in the other direction, it's really overactive, it can look like intensity without grounding. Maybe you chase emotional highs or validation from others. Maybe you swing between extremes, obsessing over a project, a person, a fantasy, and then you crash into emptiness when it really doesn't go the way that you hope. If this chakra is overactive, it can look like overindulgence or compulsion with things like sex or food, spending, drama, even spirituality. Anything that gives a hit of sensation, like a temporary feeling of aliveness. It's like trying to fill a deep inner well with quick shots of dopamine. But a balanced sacral chakra, that's a very different story. That is when things start to feel centered in the best of ways. A balanced sacral center does not mean that you're ecstatic and you're sensual all day long. Goodness, no. It's more like having a healthy emotional tide. Like your feelings rise, they fall, and you trust that movement. You lean into that movement. You don't stress out when you have a lower day. You feel creative, even in small ways. You have ideas. You feel encouraged to pursue them if you would like. You're able to feel pleasure without feeling guilty. You can say yes to what feels good and aligned, and you are comfortable saying no to things that feel like a violation or draining. You're connected to your own desire, not just sexually, but in terms of what you want from life, from relationships, and from your own growth. You might notice that people that have a lively, so very balanced sacral chakra, they have a certain glow. It's not necessarily in a flashy, loud way, but there's this softness. It's a magnetism, a sense that they seem at home in their body. They seem at home in their emotions. These people are not perfect. They still get angry, sad, overwhelmed, but they are generally not afraid of those feelings. They know that emotions come and go. They move through like weather, and they let themselves feel the rain instead of pretending that it's not falling. This is the chakra that also governs intimacy, emotional intimacy, not just physical, though it does do that. When your sacral energy is balanced, you are able to feel vulnerable in ways that feel safe enough, even if it's a little bit scary. You're able to open up emotionally, share your truth, and actually receive affection, support, and pleasure without the urge to shrink away or to somehow sabotage it. You know those moments when someone truly sees you, and your first instinct is to deflect or make a joke? That is often a sign that the sacral chakra is unsteady. It's unsure about being seen. Healing this center can soften that reflex so that being witnessed feels more like a sacred thing than a dangerous one. Now, because the sacral chakra lives in that low belly, the pelvis, it is deeply connected to the womb, the hips, the waters of our body. So our blood, our tears, sexual fluids. There's something profoundly like alchemy about this part of the body. It's literally where life gets created, but it is also where ideas, art, and new versions of the self are gestated. Even if you never want children, never have children, this creative gestational energy is a part of you. You're always carrying the potential to birth something. New behavior, artwork, business, a relationship dynamic, something that's healthy and nourishing. And because of all of that water, this chakra is often where we can store a lot of grief. Old heartaches, disappointments, shame, all those desires that we've told ourselves we're not allowed to have can sink down here and become heavy. Yes, a lot of grief is stored within that heart chakra. We'll get to that when we get to that, but grief is also stored, often, in the sacral. And sometimes the physical tension in your hips and pelvis mirrors emotional weight that you're carrying. So you might not consciously remember a moment where you swallowed your anger to keep the peace, or you might not remember the time you kind of shut down your own pleasure to make somebody else comfortable, but your body remembers, your energy certainly remembers. Any chakra, but in particular the sacral, it's kind of like a diary written in sensation, right? So the pen is water, it's sensation. Nothing can really be truly erased from this diary, only pushed down or transformed. And as witches, as energy workers, as sensitive, magical beings trying to navigate this very loud, very hectic world, the sacral chakra is also where our relationship with enchantment lives. This is the place that asks us, do you let yourself experience wonder and magic? Not just to read about magic or talk about it, but actually feel enchanted by touch, by a sunset, a song, ritual, a smell. When your sacral energy is flowing, these are little moments that are easier to notice. You're more receptive to beauty. Your mundane life doesn't suddenly turn into a fantasy novel, but you are more attuned to small details. Light in a glass, the warmth within a hug, a line in a book that reaches right into your chest. It feels very, very magical. A lot of us, especially those of us that were raised in environments where bodies and feelings were policed, have a complicated relationship with pleasure. We could feel guilty for resting. We might feel like we have to earn joy by suffering first or being productive enough. We might struggle to accept our own desires or worry they're too much, too weird, too selfish, childish. The sacral chakra is where all of that gets gently questioned. It asks, what if pleasure is not a reward you have to earn, but a birthright? So I question you, like, what if you are allowed to enjoy your life, not just to survive it? What if your desires are not a problem to fix, but a compass to help you understand? Of course, this does not mean acting on every fleeting impulse. Desire can be a holy teacher, but it still needs the grounding of the root chakra and the clarity of the higher chakras, which we'll get to. But for many of us, the issue is not that we run wild with our desires. It's that we barely let ourselves even admit what we want in the first place. When the sacral is blocked, you might find yourself saying, I don't know, a lot when it comes to preferences. Someone asks you, what do you want to eat? Your answer is, I don't know. What do you want from this relationship? I'm not sure. What do you want for your future? Silence, numbness. There's a fog where answers should be. So much of sacral healing is about letting those faint whispers of desire become audible again. It's letting yourself admit, actually, I want more tenderness, or I want to feel beautiful, or I want passion, I want excitement, softness, I crave safety. Not because the universe is a genie that grants our wishes on demand, but because naming your true desires is an act of self-knowledge. It's a way of turning toward yourself instead of away. There's also a relational aspect to the chakra that is really important to address. The sacral chakra governs how we relate to other people, especially in one-on-one relationships. It's where we feel into emotional dynamics, attachment, chemistry, attraction, and boundaries. And when this center is wounded, you might find yourself people-pleasing, or shape-shifting to gain approval, or using your sexuality as a bargaining chip, a way that you can feel worthy or safe. You might ignore your own discomfort to keep somebody else happy, or stay in connections that drain you because you're afraid of being alone. When the sacral chakra is more balanced, relationships tend to feel more mutual. There's give and take. There is room for your feelings and room for theirs. You can feel the difference between genuine attraction and just trying to fill an emotional void. You're able to say safely, well, this doesn't feel good, or I need more, or I want something different, and stand by that even if it disappoints someone. You're also more capable of letting love, kindness, and intimacy in, instead of pushing it away or waiting for it to vanish. On a more mystical level, I really like to think of the sacral chakra as your inner moon. It waxes and wanes. It's not meant to be at full brightness, full alertness all the time. Some days you will feel energized, sensual. Other days you're going to feel tender or introspective or emotionally heavy. And neither of those states is wrong. The health of your sacral chakra is not measured by a constant bliss. It's measured by your ability to let your emotional tides move without shaming yourself for them. And in a magical practice, you might notice that when your sacral energy flows, your spells and your rituals feel much more lively. You're more connected to the feeling and the tone of what you're calling in. So your visualizations tend to be more vivid, your emotion more real, intuition about herbs or colors or symbols to use, they come more naturally. You become less focused on doing a spell correctly and more open to the experience of the ritual, how it feels to you, what it awakens in you, how it shifts your inner landscape. You see, and that's another important point. The sacral chakra speaks in the language of feeling. It doesn't really care about plans or rigidity. It wants to know, how does this feel in my body? Does this thing or person light me up, or does it drain me? Does this relationship, this job, this way of living bring warmth, or does it make my muscles tense? When you are disconnected from this chakra, it's very easy to override those signals. You might stay in situations that your body has been saying no to for a really long time. You might say yes to decisions that look good on paper, even as your inner waters feel stagnant or unsure. Reconnecting with this chakra in many ways is really just about rebuilding trust within yourself. It's trusting your emotions, your desire, your instincts, not treating every feeling like it's an emergency or it's a command, but it's also not dismissing them as irrational or silly. If the root chakra is about saying, hey, I'm allowed to exist, the sacral chakra usually follows with something like, I'm allowed to feel. What I feel matters. There is something incredibly sacred about re-inhabiting this part of the energy body, especially if you have been disconnected from it due to trauma, illness, cultural conditioning. Coming back to your low belly, your hips, your sensuality, your creativity can feel very vulnerable at first. It could bring up old memories or grief. A lot of trauma is stored in that sacral area. So if you have a past that does involve a history of any type of abuse, it tends to settle there. So working through that will be a huge form of release. Huge for that part of the body. So it could feel really scary to let yourself enjoy pleasure without immediately bracing for it to be taken away. But slowly, as you work through it gently, this chakra will respond to your attention. It will start to thaw. It starts to move correctly. Emotions that you haven't processed might rise, but not to drown you, just to finally be acknowledged. And as that happens, you might notice subtle shifts in your life. You laugh more easily. You feel less guilty about resting or doing things purely because they make you happy. You might feel drawn back to creative hobbies that you abandoned, or you suddenly get the urge to try something new. Singing, crafting, gardening. You could find that your relationships become more honest and emotionally intimate, even if that means confronting some uncomfortable truths along the way to get there. In the context of the chakra system, the sacral chakra is also the bridge between that dense physicality of the root chakra and then the more fiery, will-driven solar plexus. And that is next week. That is why the sacral is that centering point. It's the place where the grounded safety meets the desire, and desire begins to flow upward towards action. So when the sacral chakra is blocked, energy goes upward. So when the sacral is blocked, your solar plexus, which is sense of will, confidence, intuition, it can struggle because it doesn't have that stream of emotional energy flowing into it. And when the sacral is overly chaotic, your sense of direction can feel really scattered. You got a lot of feelings, you have a lot of impulses, but you don't have any clear focus. So when you're working with this energy body, it is helpful to think of the sacral not as an isolated orange circle floating somewhere in the pelvis, which is very common on illustrations, but as part of a larger conversation happening up and down your spine, how it relates to the others. So while the root is asking, am I safe? The sacral is asking, how do I feel? What do I want? And the solar plexus right above is asking, well, what do I do about it? And the journey continues upward and upward. But for now, not going to get ahead of ourselves. We're going to linger in this watery second center and let this one still have our full attention. If anything in this episode, because I know this is a bit of a chaotic episode, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot to try to pack in the time frame I have. If anything in this episode is stirring something in you, memories, perhaps resistance, that is okay. That is your sacral chakra waking up from wherever it's been tucked away. You don't have to solve all of this at one time or fix it. You don't have to dive headfirst into every emotion that you've ever suppressed. This type of energy does not respond well to force. We don't jump in wholeheartedly. We dip toes in the water as we do this. Sacral responds to gentleness, to curiosity, to play. And even small moments of pleasure and authenticity can begin to shift things in a big way. And I want to say this very clearly. Your relationship with your sacral chakra is one of the most deeply personal of them all. And there's no one way that it should look or feel. You don't have to be wildly emotional or hypersexual or artistically prolific to have a healthy sacral. A balanced sacral chakra can belong to the quiet introvert who paints secretly, or the parent who finds joy in storytelling with their children, or the person who revels in simple sensory pleasures like warm baths and soft blankets, and to the witch who feels emotions like tides but doesn't let them define her. Your expression of sacral energy will be as unique as your energy fingerprint. The heart of sacral work really is just this: allowing yourself to be a feeling, desiring, creative being without shame. So as I start to close this podcast, I want to invite you to notice, just in the background of your life after the episode ends, notice your inner waters with softness. I want you to notice where you feel dry or numb, or you feel an overwhelming sense of control. Notice where emotions leak out sideways in irritability or self-sabotage. Notice where your body feels tense, hips, belly, low back. And instead of criticizing yourself for it, just acknowledge, these are signs that my sacral is asking for me to care for it. When you laugh deeply, when you cry, when you savor something without apology, when you allow yourself to daydream, when you feel the spark of, I want this, I'm going to allow myself to have it, you're already working with this chakra. You are already tending it. Your sacral chakra is not a flaw to fix. It is an energetic temple of feeling and creation, and it belongs solely to you. You are the one who gets to decide who enters it, how it's honored, and what kind of energy you allow to swim in its waters. You are allowed to close the gates to what harms you. You're allowed to open them wider to things that nourish you. And you are allowed to rewrite relationships with pleasure, with desire, emotion, one small choice at a time. Thank you, truly, for sharing this space with me today, for being willing to listen and explore deeper layers of yourself. I know it isn't always easy to look inward, especially in a world that constantly demands attention outward. But you are doing it. I'm proud of you. You're here. And every time you show up for yourself like this, every time you listen, your energy will shift just a little. Your magic will deepen just a little. And the world around you feels that. It echoes, whether it realizes it or not. As we close, I want you to take a breath with me. One more, wherever you are. And imagine drawing a soft, warm orange glow into your low belly. Exhale. And imagine that glow settling there like a candle placed gently on an altar that only exists within your belly. It doesn't have to blaze. It only needs to remain steady. Thank you for listening to Witchy Ways for Modern Days. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to carry its energy into your day. Maybe be a bit kinder to your emotions, or more open to small pleasures that are already available to you. Until next time, I want you to remember that you are allowed to feel, you are allowed to want, and you are allowed to create a life that feels like it fits the soul that's already inside of you. I am sending you so much warmth from my heart and my low belly into yours. I will see you in the next episode, friends. Blessed be.